Welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. Whether you're watching us live at sktrading.live or listening on your favorite podcast platform, we've got you covered. Subscribe, join the community, and get ready to dive into real talk and real market insights. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, I'm Stephen Kalayjian, and welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Wow, the Bulls were in rare form today, running a huge stampede here. S&P futures were up over 3%, NASDAQ close to 4%, Russell up 3.5%, and the Dow a little under 3%. Why? Because obviously the markets like the fact that China and the United States are coming to terms. They've reduced the tariffs down to 10 and 30% for the next 90 days. We saw unbelievable patterns here across the board. Right from the get-go, we saw the 30-minute time frames reversing the buy at 10 o'clock. But more so, we saw monster sell divergences right after the opening on the spiders, the Qs, the Russell, Tesla, Meta, AMD, MSTR, PLTR, you name it, throw a dart, Microsoft, you throw a dart, boom, they got cabooshed. Meta dropped about 10. Tesla dropped 10. Microsoft dropped about 6. And then beautiful 5-minute pattern set up around 10:20, 10:30, pushed up. But then we had a couple really great patterns on the 15-minute time frame. One at 12 o'clock, 12:15 on the 15. S&P futures pushed up from the 58.15 and 3/4 up to 60. And at the end of the day, the last 15-minute time frame, S&P futures were trading 58.44 and rallied all the way up to 58.75. Caught a nice sell divergence at the end of the day, making new highs. MACD's non-confirming on the 5-minute spider, the 15-minute spider, and the 30-minute S&P futures. So, and they dropped 10. So what are we looking at here? Okay, we've rallied now over 1,000 points since that March 14th low. I said, if you look at my X, I said I'd be buying the market below 48.60, 48.70 on the S&P. And then that morning in my community, because that happened around 5 a.m., I said I would be looking to buy. A lot of people called me and said, Steve, what should I do? I'm not allowed to give investment advice. I said, I'd be buying here. I don't think they're going to break 4,800. And if they do, it's a buying opportunity. That base, that 4,800 is the base, okay, of the breakout level that got us to 6,100. We've rallied now 1,000 points off that low. NASDAQ ran more than 4,000, almost 5,000 points off that low since March 14th. The patterns today were just absolutely insane. We saw Coinbase reverse the buy on the 30 and 60. We saw Netflix act like death. Netflix reversed to sell finally on the 30 and the 60-minute time frame. Great short on Netflix around the 2 o'clock time period. Netflix drops from 1,117 all the way down to 1,101. We saw Microsoft's 2 monster long patterns. The 30-minute reverse to buy. The 2 great pullbacks on Microsoft on the 15. Apple, phenomenal pattern on Apple on the 15 after the 60 and 30-minute time frames reversed to buy. Really great patterns. Avago, great patterns on Avago. These 15-minute time frames, really powerful. Monster bull flag on the IWMs around 2 o'clock. Not only do the 15 set up, but the 30-minute set up. I'm going to show you all this, okay? Gold got absolutely kabooshed today. Gold was ugly. Oil reversed to sell. Gold was the ugliest, okay? And Netflix closed down 29. Lilly, believe it or not, Lilly at one point was trading 700, down $40. And then Lilly ended up trading as high as 761. A crazy day in Lilly, all right? We're seeing now that the market now, remember I told you, when the S&Ps were trading around the 48, 49, well, 48.90, 49.50, the S&P futures were 550 points away from the 10-bar moving average. Now we're about 250 above the 10-bar moving average on the daily. The standard deviation is 5. So minimum, the S&P future should pull in. I said before, and I'll say it again, I think the lows are in for the year. Worst case scenario, we fill that gap somewhere around that 5,100, 5,180, 5,150, whatever it comes in at. But ultimately, I do believe that the market, the lows are in for the year. Maybe we'll have a hiccup here between, I said I was looking for a high between 58.50 and 59.50. We have the CPI number coming out tomorrow, the PPI number coming out on Thursday. We're overextended here. The dailies and the weeklies are going to be getting very overbought here very, very soon. And then I think you wait for the pullback here and look for longs. But again, I do believe with this gap up here of 18, so the spiders close up 18.67. That's a monstrous gap up 18 points. That gap will get filled. It'll get filled on gaps down, and then those gaps will get filled on the way back up. So I do believe that the lows are in for the year. Again, we'll be trading in the range 4,800 to 6,100. Ultimately, I think we hit 6,500. I'm not sure if it's going to be this year, though. It could. We're only 700 points away, 650 points away on the S&P. But May, June, July, August, September, rocky period for the market. Then we pick it up, kick-start it again in the third and fourth quarter. All right, so let me just show you, first of all, this is Tesla here this morning. You can see Tesla, ding, 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 ding here. You see the push up here, the 30 and 60-minute time frames. Look at this Tesla, 322, and it drops all the way down to 211. Beautiful pattern on Tesla. You buy the first pullback on the 5-minute time frame right here at 950. The ADXs are rising on both the 5 and the 15-minute time frame. Really beautiful patterns there on Tesla. Okay, and then you can see another pullback happen here on Tesla right here. Another pullback right here. And then this beautiful pullback is the first pullback on the 15-minute time frame below the 217 level. You can see the move up here about 2. Now the MACDs are negative above the pivot. So pretty much I would tell you that I think the highs are in for the day. When Tesla got the overbought condition into the negative MACD, again, a sell divergence and a positive trend. And then you got the oversold condition, which we caught at the end of the day here in Tesla. So really, you had 3 great patterns, 2 longs on Tesla, 1 great short. Avago, AMD was great too. Palantir didn't even act that well. Look at this Apple here. So let me show you Apple. Apple reverses to buy right here. You see the gap up here, but this is where Apple fell short here. Apple gapped up here as high as 211. You can see here this beautiful pattern on the 15-minute time frame. The ADXs are rising on the 15, 30, and hourly. This is an absolute Picasso. You can see the time here in Apple on Apple at 11:45. We were buying this thing under the 208.50. It got all the way down. Look at this, down to the 207.70. Was it the 208.25. And look at this beautiful pattern on the 15-minute time frame, which is actually right here. So Apple pulled in on the 15 and the 30-minute time frame. Trust me, it's the next bar. Look at the big buying pressure, the rising ADX. Look at the 60-minute time frame. Holy macro. You can't ask for a better pattern here. The 60s reverse the buy, the positive MACD, the rising ADXs, and you can see the pullback right here on Apple. Really, really phenomenal longs on Apple. And at the end of the day, what did Apple do? It pulled in beautifully here. Apple had 1 great long here. Here's a good short here. We caught this short on Apple above 211. Getting overbought into the negative MACDs. The MACDs were non-confirmation, and you can see Apple dropped more than $1, and then the 15 set up right here, 210, and rallied 80 cents. So tomorrow, a lot of these MACDs are definitely above the pivot negative, so we're going to watch that. Let's look at IBIT, which is the Bitcoin ETF. All right, so ding, 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 we come in here, and you can see the look at things. the push up here, I called the short here. I said I'd be looking to short this above the 59.30. You can see the 15-minute time frame, the MACDs, the non-confirmed, the high. The 15 actually reversed to sell. All right, so I knew that the highs were in for the day there. And if you can see here again on IBIT, you're pushing up here. You're making new highs right here. And you can see how the MACD is non-confirming on the 30-minute. Now let's look at the 60-minute here. IBIT pushed up. Okay, is that it? No, it's right here. Sorry. Pushed up, but the MACDs are positive. But anyway, the 30 and the 15-minute time frames really were the story on IBIT, making new highs. The MACDs couldn't confirm. Look what IBIT did. Beautiful shorts. And then what you'd look to do in a sell disconnect, the 30 and the 15-minute time frame reverse to sell. You take the first short on the bounce on the 15-minute time frame, and there it is. Beautiful, beautiful pattern. Okay, Coinbase, COIN. Actually, let's look at MSTR really quickly. MSTR, what a short. Oh, my Lord. You can't ask for anything better than this. MSTR pushes up, okay, on the opening here on the 30-minute time frame, 422. You're pushing up into a negative MACD on the 30. All right, you can see the 15 and the 30-minute time frame. The indicator 4 is still in sell mode. 60-minute time frame reverses to sell right here at 10:30. You take the first short on the 15 into the negative MACD. The second short right here, you can see a Picasso above 411 and drops all the way down about $9. At the end of the day, another great short off the 15. Look at these negative MACDs. Where is MSTR going? Where is MSTR going when you have negative MACDs like this on the 15, 30, and 60-minute time frame? And then you have the yellow dots, which represent the price within the algorithm. So again, very, 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 very bearish pattern, especially the 60-minute time frame on MSTR. Again, using the 15-minute time frame right here, when it reversed to sell, it correlated. And here's the first bounce on the 15. That's one. Okay. And then, I'm sorry, here's the push up from this morning. One. Here's the second bounce, 2. Here's the third bounce, 3. And then here's the fourth bounce on the 15. So 4 great shorts. Actually, somebody said to me, should we take a scalp long on MSTR? I said, no, I would not look to do that. And of course, it ran $8, but who cared? I didn't really care. All right. Let's look at Coinbase here. Let me teach another strategy on Coinbase. Coinbase, you can see reverses to buy. When the MACDs are above the pivot, you take the short. Caught a really great short above 213 on Coinbase, especially when the algo reverses to buy when the MACDs are above the pivot. If I show you the 30-minute time frame, already coming in here on the 12th, reverses to buy. With the MACDs, this is a little bit below the pivot. But here is when the push up came, and you can see this is the short. Now, when Coinbase reversed to sell right here on the 15-minute time frame, you went from a buy trend to a buy disconnect. And when you have a buy disconnect, what happens then is you look at your yellow dots on both the 30 and the 60-minute time frame. You take the oversold condition. You look for the long right here under 206, and then you can trade it. So basically, really, I'm expecting one more push up here tomorrow, especially off the 30-minute time frame on Coinbase. Again, the 15 reverses to sell. You have a sell reversal, buy disconnect. The 30 and 60 are in buy mode. You wait for the pullback. You buy the first pullback on the 15. And that's exactly what happened on Coinbase. Great patterns there on Coinbase. Really great patterns there. Microsoft, a Picasso and a half. Microsoft reverses to buy on the 30-minute time frame right here. Ding, ding, ding. It correlates. This is my most powerful strategy. When the 30-minute time frame correlates with the 15 and the 60-minute time frame. Look at this beautiful little bull flag right here. Oversold into the positive MACD, rising ADX buying pressure. At the end of the day, look at this beautiful, beautiful pattern on Microsoft on the 15. 446.58. Boom. Look at that. Look at that, Microsoft, right back up, more than $2.50. And of course, you can look at the smaller time frames. The 5-minute time frames had some really great trades on the fives. You can see here, this is the, well, right here, this is right after the opening, and this is the push down to Microsoft. Actually, I caught this below 442. And you can see the 15-minute time, the 15 actually was getting oversold into a positive MACD, rising ADX. The 5 set up as well. Here's another long, that's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. But this fourth one right here was the oversold based upon the indicator 3 that did not look like that because of the buying pressure, but somewhat oversold, not particularly like this one. And then you can see this pattern here, 442.67, and the stock ran, good Lord, more than $4. Pulled in again here on the 5, and then here pulled in again on the, now this was the short at the end of the day that was I called here around 240. S&Ps were trading around the 62 level. And again, you're making new highs, non-confirmation. Microsoft 448.41 drops, roughly almost $1.80. But then look what happened on this push down. It happened so fast, though. 445.85, and you can see here a move up of almost $3.30 on Microsoft. A really, really, really great pattern. I want to show you Bitcoin really quick here, BTC USD. So Bitcoin reverses to sell on the 30-minute and the 60-minute time frame. I'll put the 60 here, and I'll put the 30 here just to show you the condition. The condition right here, you can see the MACD negative from 11 o'clock in the morning. This little bounce right here, well, let's do it. 15-minute time frame. Let's do it right there. That's the bear flag right here. Here's the first bear flag at 11 o'clock in the, let's see, what time is this? This is 11 o'clock right here. This is the first bounce right here on the 15 after the 60-minute time frame correlated with the 15 and 30-minute. And what do you look to do? You look to short the first bounce. And you can see the drop of almost 2,000, more than 2,000 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, within 7 bars. And then you got another push up here towards the end of the day. Now the 15 reverses the buy. So basically you have a buy reversal, sell disconnect. The 30 and 60-minute time frames are in sell mode. I want to show you the S&P futures at the end of the day when they were pushing up to new highs on the day, trading above the 58.75 level. When the S&Ps were pushing up here, 58.76, you can see the 30-minute time frame, the MACDs, the non-confirm right here. And Mark, that's going to be a problem for tomorrow. The MACD is non-confirming, but we'll see what happens in the overnight session. MACD is the non-confirm right here at 3:30, but also the NASDAQ futures didn't confirm as well. So, but again, what we're looking to do, remember, when the MACDs are above the pivot and the algo flips positive, you also can take the short there as well. And there's another, that was the short right there up to 76.25. Again, beautiful patterns, the non-confirmation, but also if you look here, you can see the spiders at the end of the day right here. The MACDs on the 15-minute time frame, the MACDs are negative, and you can see the beautiful oversold condition, just like Microsoft. This is the long. We were actually long the S&Ps here. I said I would look to buy between the 38.5 and the 45.5 range. I think the low was 44, 43, and the market just exploded. Look at that deep oversold condition. I'm telling you, it was a Picasso, especially when you have these ADXs rising and oversold conditions like that. Really, really beautiful patterns here. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to show you Netflix here. Netflix. Okay, I don't know if I show you Netflix already. You can see Netflix is negative on the 30 and on the 15, but this is the killer pattern right here. I think I did this one already. 60-minute reverses to sell, and what do you look to do? Here's the bounce on Netflix. The first bounce on the 15 after the 30 and 60 reverse to sell. After the 60 correlates with the 30 and the 15, you short the first bounce on Netflix. High was 1,117. And look at this pattern. Look at this. Look at this. Negative MACD, rising ADX, big selling pressure. First bounce on the 15-minute time. Well, this was a bounce here, one, and here's the second bounce. But beautiful, beautiful pattern on Netflix. Okay, the 211 pattern. Once these MACDs went negative, right, that's going to be the time where I would look into really heavily short. MACD's negative above the pivot, and on the 5 and 15, price making new high, and you can see it got kabooshed towards the end of the day, dropped about $1.20, and then obviously that drops up the long on the 15-minute time frame. So it should be fun here. Again, I'll just show you the S&P futures for tomorrow. You can see the gap up here. And all the gaps that we have here. Look at this gap right here. Boom. 50s, where this thing close? The close 56.78. So we're about 190. That's when we close 190 points, obviously. Here's a gap here. Okay. Well, that might have been filled. That filled. Here's a gap here. Okay. And then that's, let's see here. There should be one. Let's see here. There should be two gaps here. 5,300. So I thought there was a gap at 5,100. Might have been this one. I'm not sure. It looks like that got filled. But look at this low here, 48.32 on April 7th. April 7th. So you're talking about a month ago. Okay, a little over a month ago, the S&P's rallied 1,000 points. 1,000 points. That's absolutely, completely bonkers. Okay. Now looking at the weekly here. You can see the weekly. This is a really negative pattern. You have a 94 overbought reading. All right. You got a ton of overhead resistance here. I don't see anything good happening. I think we're going to be in a range bound 50, 51, 5,200 to 5,900 range. And then eventually I think we'll base and get out of this. And I think eventually what happens here is that we'll eventually get another big push up in the third, fourth, and the first quarter of 2026. All right. When I get back, I'll tell you what I'm looking for tomorrow. So tomorrow at 8:30, we have the CPI number. Everybody's going to be watching this number, right? And then Thursday, we have the PPI number. But again, the CPI number, right, is the gauge of inflation. So we're going to watch that. It's going to affect gold. It's going to affect the 30-year bonds. But so what I'm looking at here is, again, because we had this $18 gap up. Oh, my God, right? I mean, you got to be kidding me here. So what I'm expecting here in general is the ability, okay, to understand that when you're trading and you see these gigantic gaps on the 60-minute time frame, I think there's like 5 gaps now on the 60-minute. But this gap is not really a breakaway gap. You have a ton of overhead resistance here. So I'm thinking if they do push up here, 59, 59.20, 59.50, I think it's going to be short-lived. I really do. The overhead resistance is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So what I would be probably looking to do, because the ADXs are still rising, is look to see if you get a deep oversold condition on the 30-minute time frame. They're not done going down first, okay? Unless you get some crazy CPI number that's like a 5% or 4% tomorrow. But you're going to get the sequence. You'll probably get a nice pullback on the, if they gap up tomorrow, I look to short them against these negative MACDs on the 15. If we gap down or we trade lower, I'll look to see a deep oversold condition on the 30-minute time frame and then eventually on the 60-minute time frame. And ultimately, let's see if we can get to an overbought reading here where the markets then can get some type of a pause and pull in a couple hundred points and fill these gaps. All right. When I get back, I'll tell you a great story from the past that I want to share with you. You know, I worked on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in the crash of '87. And I never forget that. And it was one of the probably the most craziest times of my life. And being there, the roar and the screaming, the yelling, and all the you know, I was getting orders coming at me, sell 19,700 international papers, sell 40,000 GE. It was just completely insane. And I think I stayed the night practically, and I left at like 12 o'clock. I came back at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think and then I had to come in on a weekend and do work. And it was just unbelievable. The floor on the weekend looked like it was a floor during a weekday. So you're thinking 1980s, the crash of 87. You're thinking right now, you're talking 38 years ago. 38 years ago, how, working on that floor and the experience that I have in the industry, from working on the floor of the American Stock Exchange, working on the floor of the big board, becoming a member on the big board, and then being able to go to the COMEX, then to the Board of Trade, and then start going upstairs and working with a family office, 3 guys, and then starting my own broker-dealer. It's been a long journey. This August 1st will be 42 years, but it gives me great joy to meet so many people from all over the world, and it's important for me to be able to share my knowledge and wisdom and experience with you because, again, I want to be able to teach you the right way, teach you the patterns. Today, I was very calm. I waited for the right patterns. I wasn't doing a lot of scalp shorts. I waited for a lot of great patterns to set up. But again, really great patterns. Sometimes less is more, and that's what really counts. A lot of great people today in my community did very, very well. I didn't see one negative P&L. But that's what this all about, to be consistent, to learn, to be able to be part of this community, to be able to be part of something where you can learn from me, you have great technology, and to be able to improve your life each and every day. Thank you for joining me today on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Remember, CPI number tomorrow at 8:30. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please leave a comment. Please join my community of traders from all around at sktrading.live. Please follow me on social at official Stephen Kalayjian on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, you can text me if you like. My cell phone number is 914-500-7484. God bless you. Have a great, great evening. Enjoy your family. And most of all, God bless the United States of America. Be well.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe at sktrading.live or on your favorite podcast platform. We'd love for you to rate, review, and join our community for more real talk and market insights. Until next time, keep trading and stay sharp.